All right, so in my entire life, I have been asked a forbidden question and had various deeds done to me. And I think, 8 or 9 years old the first time I went into the doctor and I was having problems with appendicitis. And the young female doctor said, I don't like this and you're not going to like this, but I have to put my fingers back there. And she asked, it's like, do you want your parents to be here? And I said, no. And they walked out, they closed the door. She like whispered in my ear, it's like, okay, you ready? And I was just like, I just remember nodding my head and she jabbed me in there. And that's my earliest recollection. But as I think back to all my memories over my lifetime, how many times a woman's wanted to fleece you, right? Fleece, I imagine, is a woman, by the way, except he has all the proper equipment to do what he does because he knows what to do. And so 2 days ago, I was talking to this woman that I barely know, and we were talking back and forth. And I asked her about being in the medical industry and what her profession was because I told her that I was a really bad person, and she acknowledged the fact that mental health wasn't the part of the medical industry that she was in. So her follow up question to that was, I think you need a prostate exam. And my first thought was, did she just really say that? That was my first thought. And I thought I just wrote back, uh, thumbs up, right? I didn't I didn't say any words. I just sent the thumbs up emoticon. And so we didn't say anything to each other after that. Well, then I saw her again yesterday, and she asked me a couple more times, "How about that exam?" And I said to her, "It's like, you know what? If you're in, I'm in." And my question to you guys is, why do girls think about this? What is it in your mind that makes you want to do this? Like, I was at a massage one time a couple years ago, and the lady didn't ask. She didn't say anything. She didn't nod. She didn't do anything. And suddenly, I was getting examined, and I didn't know what to say. It's like, get out of there, or what what inside of you, what part of your psychology causes that instinct to want to go to that holy place? Because it's something that's come up enough times in my life so that when this came up with a person that I barely know, what would make you ask such a question, or what in your mind do you get out of it? Why this? Why does this keep coming up? And then if you can do the heart emoticon with two hands, it's like, this is what you're gonna call it. You're gonna put both of your hands together into a little heart, and that's how you feel about it. Like that, I just don't know. It just reminds me of that night that I was coming home on the city bus, and the girl in front of me saw me looking at her feet, and she's just like, she asked me point blank, do you like my feet? And I was like, yeah. And she's just like, okay. Well, it was just a random comment. So again, this is more of a questioning my audience because remember, this uh, millennial steam was created for angry, lonely men. So the responses from us to such a question is we don't know how to answer. So if you are interested in this in a person I mean, you're not really physical attraction, and something like this isn't necessarily need to be at the maximum level. No one hears a 10 out of 10, right? But if they continue to ask and you're not blatantly going to say, hey, lady, I don't know where you came up with this idea, but uh, your interest, your curiosities in this, it's just mind-boggling, right? It's the way it's in that It's in that category of things that you think, but you should never say out loud, especially in public, especially around people, other people that can hear you. There's another person standing right next to you and wondering, it's like, what is she doing? Why is she asking this? And I I just don't know. You just kind of like sit there and like I said, it wasn't one or two times. She kept pushing the matter. No pun intended here, but it just makes you believe that we are out here always getting fleeced by society, right? Someone's always trying to probe us, to exploit us, to take advantage of us. And to what end? To what end does this end? How does this end? And you just kind of uh, wonder if we're all just bent over our whole lives. Like you go to work, bent over. You come home, bent over. The landlord, bent over. Credit cards, bent over. Grocery store, bent over twice. Once when you come in and once when you leave. We live in a bend over kind of world. And frankly, it's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and sometimes it's just plain you don't know what to say. You can't say no to Fleece. He's always a firm believer in the hard way. But you, as the person on the receiving end, how are you supposed to take this? Do you ask for mercy? Do you ask for decency? Do you ask for gentleness? Or do you just ask for it to be over? It's just one of those things. I mean, I have never had to encounter a person that was this interested in doing something like this. And you're just like, in the times where I've heard other men talk about this, no one ever wants to be violated in that way. But you can't tell work that you don't want to work. It's part of work. The violation is built right in. And the worst part is that after the violation happens, you get your puny, pathetic, sickly paycheck on Friday, and you ask, was it worth it? And the answer is always a big no. The paycheck is insulting. It's a slap in the face, or slap you in the face with whatever happens to be around. Large, black, floppy thing smacks you across one cheek and then the other cheek. Because they have to gaslight you into believing that this is fair. That you give up all of the best moments of your day in a place where you don't want to be. And more so than ever. Because as they take away more and more remote work, people are going to ask themselves, well, why am I doing this? If you're wondering why I didn't create a video yesterday, it's simple. I was in an hour and a half of stop and go traffic trying to get home. Yes, an hour and a half to get from one office to my house. You think I was eager to come home and get on the computer? No, I was eager to come home and start drinking beers until I turned blue in the face. That's most of my life. Because that to me, when you're not thinking, that's when you're living. Because when you're thinking, you're never thinking about anything good. You're thinking about how bad it's going to feel when your tighty whities drop between your ankles tomorrow morning at 8, or how you already have to be there. My life over the past 11 or 12 days, I can't even remember the last day I didn't have to work. I'm starting to get loopy from working so many days and so hard. And you're just kind of like, what am I doing? You wake up, you go to work, get home, you get ready to go to bed, and then you wake up and you're at work again. At no point do you get to enjoy your life. And whether or not you think it's fair, just like the movie Office Space, it's like, oh, we're going to need you to show up this weekend. And you're like, no. They're like, that's not a question. We're telling you you're going to work. You don't have the option to opt out. You will be there, or come Monday morning, you will be looking for another job. And if you guys have seen the latest episode of The Epic Economist, it's grueling out there. That woman who submitted over 4,000 resumes and has been unemployed for several years, your heart breaks because that could be you. That could be me. That could be anyone that you know, looking and looking and looking and spending hours submitting resumes only to have an AI bot look it over in 1 second and tell you just spent the last 45 minutes entering information on an application only to be rejected within seconds, because that's how fast the rejection comes. And there's nothing you can do about it.